Hello, my friend, and welcome to the study. This will be the second video in the video series of artists and illustrators. Today, we're going to look at some illustrations from some children's books by the artist Tibor Gergely. This is a very large book. It's a collection of many children's stories produced by Little Golden Books. And it's a compilation or an omnibus of books. And I see I've got, again, some puppy fur on that because my dog likes these books as well. And Tibor Gergely was born on the 3rd of August 1900 in Budapest, Hungary. Which was at the time part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He studied art in Vienna and for the most part was a self-taught artist. One exciting thing about his work is that it was exhibited as part of the painting event in the competition for works inspired by athletics and sports-related themes at the 1928 Summer Olympics in Amsterdam. This is the contents of this compilation of Little Golden Books, and you can see Tibor Gergely is quite prominent as an illustrator, and we can also see Fyodor Rozhankowski, whom we met last week in our first video of Illustrators. So in these children's books that with this company were published in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, we have lots of beautiful, beautiful illustrations. Pictures that you might have seen growing up, your parents will have seen growing up, and possibly even their parents before them. So, looking at also how these beautiful illustrations will encompass the imagination of a child, but also the memories of an adult. They carry all of those memories and ideas with them. Now this is the taxi that hurried. Pictures by Tibor Gergely. And you can see how much detail he puts into these. There's a taxi, and it's very bright yellow with a red and black stripe. And there's the driver looking for a customer, and the mother and the taxi with their luggage. And the cat looking at them from the street to the pavement. The shop with the fruit and vegetables. The bus with people inside. A man reading the newspaper. A lady pulling the stop cable. A man holding on to the cable. And here's a man with a hat and a little boy on the street. The policeman directing traffic. And even we have the detail of the shop front awnings, the bricks, the windows, and the steps. So it's very reminiscent of possibly New York or East Coast, United States. And that is probably because Tibor emigrated to the United States from Austria in 1939. He settled in New York City during the 1940s. This is another story illustrated by Tibor called Scuffy, the Tugboat, and his adventures down the river. Even I remember this story from the beautiful pictures and their detail and the colors. I remember how well Tibor drew the water and the images and the feelings and the atmosphere that is conveyed through those colors and the depth of the water. And here's Scuffy the Tugboat in the toy shop. And the man and his son, who has the tugboat, chase Scuffy as Scuffy is going down the river, thinking that he's a really great big boat and he needs to be on the sea, not in a tiny little creek. So begins Scuffy's adventures as he goes down the river. Tibor must have had such an experience when he left his native Austria for the United States. Living in New York City in the 40s, he produced several covers for the New Yorker magazine, which was very prestigious and still is. He began his career as an illustrator for children's books at this time, and this is when he started his association with Little Golden Books Company. In 1948, he became a U.S. citizen. Scuffy remains one of his most popular books. And as the river gets bigger and bigger, he gets smaller and smaller because the events that happen and the vessels that are in the river are much, much bigger than this tiny little tugboat. Eventually, he goes out to sea and is completely lost until he's once again picked up by the little boy who takes him home. And let's have some more glimpses of some of his work. Another one reminiscent of the city, reminiscent of his Vienna, as well as New York. A year in the city. We've got trains, boats, Christmas tree in the beautiful lines of the evergreen with the drifts of snow on top, and how the baubles have that bit of light which makes them look very round and lively. So simple but beautiful, beautiful little tree. And you can see why this is a wonderful illustration for children's books. There's so much to look at. All the people Christmas shopping, the buses, the taxis, the snowplow. Another of Tibor's most popular books, or book that is still in print, is Tootle, the poor little wayward steam train. And here is a picture of Tootle when he went off to train school to learn how to be an engine. He just couldn't stop playing around in the meadow with the frogs and the dragonflies and the butterflies and the daisies and the buttercups and the black horse that told him to come and play. He got into lots of trouble. And there are all the other engines trying to decide what to do about Tootle, who's off playing in the meadow, and the engineers and the passengers. So they decide to hide in the bush and put up red flags. And when he saw them, he cried because he knew that you couldn't go with a red flag. And that's how he learned how to be a good steam engine. This is a book illustrated by Tibor Gergely called Busy Day, Busy People. And it's absolutely full of pictures that inspire the imagination. Construction site, what's happening in a building that's being built. What's happening at the market, the drugstore, the bakery, the supermarket. And we've got a little child running with something, and the little baby in the trolley. People putting things on the shelves. The farm. The shopping center or department store. All the people doing their different things. The pets and the flowers. The toy section. The hospital. The court and the police and the fire station. The circus. The post office. The airport. Do you want to be a pilot? A garage. Television show. we see some pictures by the Hungarian artist and illustrator Tibor Gergely, largely self-taught from Hungary, who settled in New York City in 1939 and lived there very happily, drawing these beautiful pictures until his death on the 13th of July, 1978. Let's look at one last story illustrated by Tibor before we sign off. This one has got some really beautiful pictures. So one last one to send you off to sleep. It's about houses. Here's a brother and sister in their apartment in the big city. And here are some gypsies in their mobile houses, playing music and dancing. And the whole family is there. There's some more houses reminiscent of possibly Italy, all connected together. A house built in the trees. You can see the people in the boat and someone climbing the ladder up to the house with something in the basket on their back. Another townhouse with little polka dot curtains in the window, some flowers on the windowsill, and pretty blue tiles on the roof. And of course, a very ornate lamp on the street. And I think that's the end of this story. But we are starved for beautiful illustrations. In this book, because it is a compilation, so we do miss a little bit. So I hope you've enjoyed this video about Tibor Gergely, and that you've enjoyed the relaxing paper sounds and the beautiful pictures, that your imagination has been piqued, and that you're able to float off into all kinds of adventuresome worlds. Be good to yourself, be kind to others, and above all,